And welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is RAMTEID, and today I have some more Battlefield 1 alpha gameplay footage for you guys. So for today, I just want to go over some of the classes with you guys, give my inputs on them, along with a few of the little things that they've added in this game that I think are a really good plus. As for the next video, I think I'll be going over the vehicles more so, and talking a little bit about those. So first up is the Assault class. It's basically taking over the role that the Engineer class had in Battlefield 4 as it pertains to anti-vehicle. So here are some of the weapons that we had access to for this class. It seems to be the SMG type weapons along with the shotguns. Now whether or not they change this and allow other classes to have access to shotguns or have one type of weapon that is available to all the classes, I don't know yet. I kind of hope they do that, just so there's something uniform across the classes that you can use if you're comfortable with it. As you can see here, the two primary modes of taking vehicles out for this class comes in its equipment, which is the anti-tank grenade and the AT rocket gun. Now both of these can do massive amounts of damage to vehicles or infantry if need be. Now if there was a vehicle or a tank around and there were a few people with the assault class, it usually didn't take very long before the tank got taken out. I mean, it's a very effective class in that regard, and one of the reasons as well was it was a class that I saw a whole lot of compared to the other classes usually, because right now we don't have access to all of the equipment, so the other classes are limited when it comes to their ability to really inflict damage on vehicles and be effective in that area. Next up is the Medic class, which is still pretty similar to what it was on Battlefield 1. You give people health and you revive them with the medical syringe. Now, since there are no assault rifles in Battlefield 1, the weapons that they're using, at least from the alpha, are comparable to the DMRs on Battlefield 4. They're semi-auto rifles, they can have high damage output, and I've had some success with them. You do, of course, have to be pretty accurate with them, as some of them, they only have 10 rounds that they can fire, so you have to really be mindful of that. It takes like 3 rounds to kill someone unless you get a headshot, then it's 2, but it also depends on the range as well. Now next up is the support class. This class isn't a whole lot different from Battlefield 4 in some of the fundamental ways that it functions. The primary weapons are still LMGs, and they do suppress more so than the other weapons in the game. You still give people ammo, and you have access, this time not to claymores but to tripwire mines. From what I've read and understand, the tripwire mines are not supposed to be a one-hit kill in the sense that they are only supposed to do 99 damage. So they will one-hit kill you if you've taken any damage, but a full health opponent is not supposed to die by them. Now, however, you can place 2 down at a time, so if there are 2 right there in that immediate area and you run into them, then most likely you're going to die because both explosions will be far more than enough to kill somebody who's at full health. Now there's 2 things I wanted to take the time to show you guys while using the Lewis gun here. First, I want to show you guys the difference in behavior of the weapon with and without a bipod. Here I'm just shooting, I'm holding down the trigger, I'm not trying to compensate for recoil at all. And then you'll see here I lay down, the bipod goes out automatically, which is a new feature in the game, and it's much more accurate, it's much easier to stay on target, just much more precise overall. Now a small feature you guys may not have noticed a second ago was that the gun overheats. After 36 rounds have been shot through it, it'll overheat for a second, and then you can get right back to shooting. Now I just wanted to point this out to you guys just because I think it's a really nice detail that they added into the game, and it shows that they're really paying attention to the small things as well. Now next up is the Scout class. There are a few changes to the sniper rifles in general. We'll get to that in a second. However, first I want to bring up the 2 gadgets that we had access to. The first gadget is the spotting flare. Now the spotting flare is the only way to spot people in this game without having to physically spot them, because they don't show up on the minimap just from shooting, so you have to spot them, otherwise they won't show up. So essentially this works as the motion sensor ball from Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 4. And for the alpha, the Scout class only had 1 flare to shoot starting off. I think that needs to be bumped up to at least 3, just because it didn't seem to be quite as effective by only having 1. Next up is the K bullets. These are rounds that are armor piercing. They can do damage to vehicles that's light damage, but they can be effective in some ways. You can take the vehicle out and any occupants if the vehicle's low enough on health. Now for the absolute biggest change that we have seen when it comes to the Scout class is how the sniper rifles behave, along with the customization and options that we may end up receiving for the final product. So now in game, we are allowed to see the bullet drop and the damage output of each weapon, which is quite helpful, and even more so when it comes to the sniper rifles and the changes that they implemented on those. So when it comes to the biggest change for the sniper rifles, as you can see, for sniper rifles there is a sweet spot on most of them where the damage output goes up. Now what this means is that at that range, if you shoot an enemy, it will do its most damage. So if the damage goes up to 100, that means all you have to do is hit the enemy in the chest to get the kill. You don't have to get the headshot. So the one in orange is the sniper rifle I'm looking at, and the one in gray is the one I have selected. So the difference between these two is the attachments that they have on them right now, which we don't have access to those, so we don't know what all they are yet. So the differences between these two weapons is just the attachments that are on them, as they're the same exact weapon. So the differences that we're seeing is more bullet drop and less damage output, especially over range. Now the advantage of the one in gray is that it shoots at double the rate, which is 1800 rounds per minute, of the one that's selected in orange. So basically you could take a rifle, if you like to play aggressively like I do, then hopefully you'll be able to customize and make it where it's much more effective close to medium range. But if you like to stay back, you should be able to customize it, make it to where it's much more effective medium to long range, or extreme long ranges possibly. So that'll be something interesting to see. I really hope that's the route that they're taking, as it adds more customization in and really allows people to fit the guns to their playstyle. As for the engineer class, you actually have to spawn into a tank or an airplane in order to have that class. So repairing is not a big factor in this game. I believe DICE said that they didn't want it to be that big of a factor just because it wasn't that big of a factor in World War I when it came to repairing broken down vehicles. So I'll get more to that in the next video, seeing as I'll be going over the vehicles there. So to end the video, I wanted to go over some of the small things that they have implemented into this game thus far, starting with the melee weapons. So right here is where they show the extras for the melee weapons. This is how I figured out that the hatchet can be used for taking out barbed wire, and the glitch to where the barbed wire is still there, can damage you even though it's not there visually. So I'm flipping back and forth here, and as you can see, they have similar outputs in all three categories, but the extras, there are none for the shovel as of yet. Like I said previously, I really do hope that they add in something to where the shovel can dig a hole, even if it's only small. I wanted to point something out for this next clip here. When it's raining, water does get on your weapon. However, when it's not raining or anything, explosions are happening near you, go diving into the ground, dirt gets on your weapon as well. Now whether it gets on the player characters, I'm not sure. I believe it gets on the vehicles, but it's still something really nice they added into the game. I think it could look better. I think the water on the weapons when it's raining could look better as well, but it is alpha, so hopefully they'll do a little more with that in the future. So something that they added into the game that I really like is you can now slide. And I'm showcasing it here for you guys. All you have to do is while you're running, you press the crouch button and your character will slide. Now, you can kill somebody while doing this, which I'll show you right here. So this feature can also be used to get behind cover really fast if need be. As for this last clip, I just wanted to point out something that pertained to the incendiary grenade. So you can see people get lit on fire with it, and they run around. You see their clothes being burned, and one interesting thing is when they die from it, their body becomes charred. It's just one of those little minor details that I keep finding in this game, and for me, I really like seeing these types of things. It shows that they care that much more about their game, and it's really awesome to see. You know, another thing that I don't have any footage of is something like locational damage on vehicles. You can take out a specific turret on a tank if you want. So things like that really give me hope that this game will be the best Battlefield game that they've ever made. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned a little bit more about the game, and have a wonderful day. RAMTEID out.